Hello, welcome to the week 2 of my stammering blog. So, hello everyone, thank you for watching. So just to begin with, really just to say thank you for everyone watching last week. The video got nearly viewed 140 times, which I wasn't expecting. So I was expecting about 10, so 130 more than I was expecting, so that's great. Thank you to everybody that shared it, that commented on it and liked it, or whatever social media platform it was on, whatever they do on that platform. That's great, thank you very much. So week 2 had lots of comments on the social media channels about and questions. So as I want to try and keep these down to maximum of 10 minutes, I might not get through all of the questions and the comments this week, but I will keep a log and I'll do them in future weeks. So one of the first ones which made me smile was, why am I doing a blog on stammering and not stammering? So good question, to be fair. So trust me when I say I stammer every day of every month of every year for the last nearly 40 years. So I did say in last week's video, if you wanted to listen and learn more about my journey and what I'm doing with my speech, there is a video on this channel that I did for Awareness Day last year, which gives a better description of what I'm doing and my journey. So give that a watch, that will answer that question for you. There was another question about what I thought about was the right time for children to enter therapy or to get some help with their stammer. Now, can I just say at this point that I don't proclaim to be any expert or the font of all knowledge in stammering. What I'm going to say is my views about which I've gained from my experience of not having any control over my stammer to then having control, and also spending the last nearly 10 years a lot of time with other people that stammer as well. So I'll answer the question as honestly as I can, but like I say, I don't proclaim to be any expert or know everything. Not been to university, I have, but not in speech and language therapy, so this is just my opinion. So what is the right age? I don't think you can put an age on it. When you go to the GP or the speech and language therapist and they say ignore it, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I wouldn't ignore it. That's usually the response you get. Ignore it, it will probably go away. There's a big word there, probably. So that's what they'll say. So, but instead of jumping into full, need to go and get them seen, I think whilst you're not ignoring it as a parent, I think for the child, they need to think that, not much else is different. And the reason I say that is if we start talking direct, it becomes more and more ingrained in the brain and in their mindset and what they're thinking, and they're thinking mummy and daddy are conscious of how I'm saying things, so then they get more nervous and more aware of how they sound. And me personally, I don't think that's a good thing to happen, because I still believe you've got potential, and the GP's right, to grow out of it up until you get to about 10 or 11. I think once you're past that kind of age and you're still stammering, then I think full-on therapy is the way forward. So as a toddler, I would say how you speak to them is important because they will copy what you do. So if you try and slow your speech down, take 1 or 2 words per breath and really pronounce the words and over exaggerate everything you do and really get these muscles working, then they may think it's a bit hard at the beginning, but they won't know that you're doing it for them, and they'll just copy and replicate, and hopefully then that works for them, and then that will become everyday speech for them. The other thing you can do is a thing called the miming game as well. So, you could play a game and you could say, okay, what am I trying to say? And then go, and then slowly get that louder, and then they have to guess what it is. And then, once they say apple, oh yeah, brilliant, okay, it's your turn. And I'm pretty confident in saying, as they're doing that and they're over-exaggerating these muscles, it frees up this jaw area which tends to get locked within a stammering moment, and they'll say the words and then they'll go, oh, I didn't stammer there, and hopefully that will increase their confidence. So that's in toddlers, and then I think as they get older and the chances of them so-called growing out of it reduce greatly, I would say actually that's the time then to look for therapy. But at the same time, that is what it is, it's therapy. It's not going to cure them. I'm not cured, far from it. So they have to be ready for it and mature enough to listen, open their mind and learn a new way of talking. And potentially thinking as well is a whole different ball game, and it's I was going to say hard work, but in some ways it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but in another way it's the most enjoyable thing as well. So I'm kind of contradicting myself there, but hopefully you can get what I'm saying on that. Also the then potentially teenager needs to think, right, do I want to do this? Because as much as you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And the project that I'm involved with, the Starfish project, they run 2 young people's courses a year, and you can very much see the kids that are there that want to be there and have chosen to be there, and the kids that have been dragged there by their mums and dads. So it has to be that balancing act of, does my child want to do something? Because if you're dragging them there, you could just deteriorate that further. Having said that, once they're there and see the benefits, even if they don't do so well during the course, in their heads they then know it's there and it's something that they can go back to when they're ready. So that's not, it can be a good thing, but you need to be careful that you're not taking them there against their wish, and therefore they're going to resent you for that, and then potentially not be interested in anything in the future as they get to 15, 16. And even if they say they're not ready when they're 12, 13, when you get to those later teens, 15, 16 in school, they're the big years, that's when you start to think about relationships and wanting to impress, and they might make that decision for themselves, and you're a lot more aware of the world around you. So just let them know it's there, don't push it in their faces. That would be my advice, and that's from talking to other kids that stammer and parents of stammerers as well over the years. That's what I would say for that one, really. In terms of adults, if you're still not accessing any sort of therapy, then that's down to you. Do you want to? Are you happy in your life, or are you living a lie day to day? Is your stammer stopping you from being the person that you want to be? And I would be pretty confident to say that it is. You know, so you be honest with yourself. I know the big change for me was when I admitted to myself that actually I wasn't happy, and my stammer was portraying me as a different person. And once I admitted that to myself, then I could then accept that I needed to do something about it. So I believe that's nearly 10 minutes now, which is whizzed by. So thank you for all the people that asked questions. I will get around to them. Like I say, if you could like the videos, subscribe, share, whatever, because you know I can only do this if you're giving me content to work with. So if you can comment, if you want a topic point raised, that would be great. Put it down. And hopefully I'll get to those other questions next week. Thank you very much for watching, and I will hopefully speak to you next week. Bye for now.